and he makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness and wonders of his love and wonders of his love and wonders of his
Hello and Merry Christmas. You guys, we are so excited that you are here tonight. Whether you have been with us for a long time or you're joining us for the first time, we are so glad that you've chosen to join us for this service. Christmas Eve is such an amazing night. You guys, my name is Mandy Allison, and I am on staff here as the Youth Ministry Coordinator, and I just want to be the first to say welcome. We are so glad that you've chosen to celebrate with us.
Come on, Grad.
What are you doing? What are you doing? No. Don't encourage this. What are you doing?
I can't hear you.
What are you doing?
What?
What are you doing?
Oh, well, I am playing Little Drummer Boy for this crowd on Christmas Eve and living out my dream. It was amazing, right, guys?
Well, that's festive. Okay, well, that's festive. I'm pretty sure that they asked me to do the announcements, not you.
Well, that is true. But you know what? I had to take it in my own hands because, a couple weeks ago when we all started preparing for this, I actually tried to audition to be on the band. And look at this lady here. She took my spot. Taylor took my spot. And it was really upsetting to me. And I figured I'd have to do this anyways. And when I was trying out, I had the little triangle, ding, ding, ding. I even went and got a cowbell, dum, dum, dum. And I came in, and Sarah was like, no. I lost my truck keys. You can't help. I don't know what her truck keys have to do with me.
I don't think that she lost her truck keys. I'm pretty sure you were off key.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
No.
I might be wrong, but you know what, Spud? That's okay. You don't have to be a part of the band to be connected here, and neither do you. If you are new with us, we would love to meet you out at the Welcome Center after this service so that you can get connected. We have an amazing gift for you, and you don't even have to have a drum.
Wait.
To claim
You're
it.
telling them they don't need a drum too?
You don't need a drum either.
That is so lame.
Oh boy. Well, that's okay, because you know what? There's other ways that you can get involved too. Tonight is Christmas Eve, and on Christmas Eve, our main focus is to build our benevolence fund, which we will use throughout the year to support families and people in need right here in our community. So what a blessing.
Wait, I got a question. There is nothing about kids, right? There's a whole bunch of kids out here. Kids, let's hear it. All right, see that? There's a lot of kids here. And earlier there was some hot cookies out there, and we had some kids trying to take the hot cookies, and I had to beat them off with my drumsticks. Is there something for them to do?
That's a great way to get a lawsuit. Thank you for that, Spud. Chasing kids with
Wouldn't be the
drumsticks.
first one.
Yep, that's nice. We have a lot of things here for kids, so that's amazing. Sunday mornings, we have an awesome engaging kids program. During the week, we have youth programs and young adults programs and adult programs and the Joy program. Just older youth.
So wait a minute. Okay, I think I'm getting it. So you're saying there's stuff for young kids like babies and toddlers and those kids. There's stuff for like older kids and and then there's youth group stuff, young adult stuff, old people stuff that Shane goes to all the time.
Yeah.
Is there groups for bald people?
Bald people?
Yeah. No.
Well, they're just welcome in
Well,
all the
anyways.
groups.
But you're still saying there's nowhere for my drum?
Yes, exactly. There's no place for your drum.
Come on.
There's no place for your drum. But there is a place for you guys here. Next week on Sunday, we will be having one more Christmas Eve service. Not a Christmas Eve service. One more Sunday service to close out the year, you guys. This is going to be our last service before the new year starts, and we are excited to send it out with a bang.
Okay,
wait. There's only...
So you're telling me there's one more chance that I can play next week my drum?
No. No, there's not. But maybe you should play at the 11 o'clock service. There's only one service, and it's at 9:30. Don't show up at 11.
I had my hopes up. But you know what? I got an idea. How about this? I want to play my drum. So who here wants to go to the 11 o'clock service? Yeah, you're going to be late. So I'm going to show up at your house next week and sing this song so you're not late. 9:30 only!
There's only one 9:30 service, so don't show up at 11. Or else you're going to get serenaded, and that's one way to guarantee a packed house. So. All right, you guys, we will leave you alone now. If you want to give, there is a QR code on the back of your seat, or there's one that's been cycling through here. That's an option for you, but I hope that you guys can just dwell in this gift of baby Jesus tonight.
Yes. All right. Hey, Mandy's right. We're here to celebrate Jesus. And whatever reason you're here for, if this is the church that you come to on a regular basis, it's your first time, or you're just checking this out, let's stand up. And we're glad you're here because we're going to turn it back over to worship. And I'm going to take my drum and go.
All right, let's give them a hand for that. That was awesome. Would you guys stand with us? We're going to continue to worship together.
The herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King, peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies, with angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. and life to all He brings. Resurrect healing in His wings. Mighty lays His glory by, born that man no more may die, born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. You are the King of Kings. We praise your name.
In the darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dirt. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. To reveal the kingdom coming and to reconcile the lost, to redeem the whole creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering you saw to the other side, knowing this was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died. Praise the Father, praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. In the morning that you rose, all of heaven held its breath, and the stone was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered death. And the dead rose from their tombs, and the angels stood in awe, for the souls of all who come to the Father are restored. And the church of Christ was born, and the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of all shall not kneel, shall not fade. By His blood and in His name, in His freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has Our theme this Christmas Eve, we decided to go with From Majesty to Manger. And we chose this because we really wanted to focus on the fact that our God, the one who created the heavens and all the earth, he chose to leave his throne of glory to be born in a cradle in the dirt. So if you know this next song, would you sing it with us? And if not, just take a second, listen to these lyrics and these truths about who our God is. You could have stepped into creation with fire for all to see, brought every tribe and nation to their knees, arriving with the host of heaven in royal robe and crown, the rulers of the earth all bowing down. But you chose meekness over majesty, wrapped your power and humanity. Glory be to you alone, King who reigns from a manger throne. My life, my praise, everything I owe to Jesus, the King on a manger throne. You could have marched in all your glory into the heart of Rome, showed them splendor like they'd never known. But you wrote a better story in humble Bethlehem, creator in the arms of common men. You will die for our redemption, in your eyes so we can live. Oh, glory be to you alone, the King who reigns from a manger throne. My life, my praise, everything I owe to Jesus, the King on a manger throne. From heaven to the cradle, from cradle to the cross, let heaven and nature sing, oh, this is our King. But the grave couldn't hold him, no, our God is overcome. Let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. From heaven to the cradle, from cradle to the cross, let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. But the grave couldn't hold it, no, our God is overcome. Let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. And all hail the King, and all hail the King, all hail the King. And glory be to you alone, King who
The birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem and the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. And while they were there, the time came for the baby to be born. And she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there were no guest rooms available for them.
You could have stepped into creation with fire for all to see, brought every tribe and nation to their knees, arriving with the host of heaven in royal robe and crown, the rulers of the earth all bowing down. But you chose meekness over majesty and wrapped your power in humanity. This is the reason we celebrate Christmas. In fact, one of the reasons the story of Jesus' birth is so amazing to people around the world is because it is so contrary to the way we would do it. He had reigned in power and glory for eternity in heaven. And yet he came to be among us. And he did it contrary to everything we would have expected. See, by every human standard, he could have and he should have come wrapped in royalty, not swaddling clothes. He should have come with fanfare and celebration, not in the midst of a chaotic night. He should have had dignitaries and rulers come pay him homage, not a group of lowly shepherds. He should have been seated on a throne, not placed in a manger. But instead, he chose meekness over majesty. He chose the manger over a throne. And tonight, I want to talk about how the humility and meekness that God showed on that first Christmas night is a picture of his never-ending love for you. But before we do that, I want to just take a minute and thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing your Christmas with us. From my family to you, I want to wish you a very merry and faith-filled Christmas. I also want to let you know, this is our fourth service. My voice is getting toward the end, so I might cough a little bit and have a little bit of water. But I know that, a lot of you are here, and you're maybe a little stressed. Maybe you have a long list of to-dos that isn't quite done. I know there's things you're maybe thinking about that you feel like you should be doing. But can I ask you right now to just take a minute to give yourself permission to breathe, to just take some time with whatever's going on in your life, to just take some time and open yourself up for a few more minutes to whatever God may want to be speaking into your life tonight. I also want to encourage you and thank you for taking the time and making it a priority to focus on Christ in the busyness of the season. A lot of you that are maybe tired and stressed are parents. And one of the reasons that you are tired and stressed as parents is because you love your family. You love your kids. And you want to make Christmas a special time for them, for the whole family. And in fact, probably Christmas is just a snapshot, a picture of how you live most of your life. You live most of your life working to make sure that your family has all that they need, taking them on trips, providing for them, making sure they can play sports and be in clubs and do other activities, taking time when you're tired to come home from work and play with them, help them with their homework, feed them, do the bedtime routines, whatever it is. You give and you sacrifice so much because you love your family so much. And you want nothing but the very best for your family, for your children. I don't know about you, but when I had kids, my whole definition of love changed. Love went from something that was reciprocal to something I was just willing to do for someone who was never going to return this to me. In fact, the love of a parent is a kind of a hard thing to understand because you give and you sacrifice and you expect nothing in return. You only hope that someday they'll respond by loving you. Your desire is to express love for your children. And a good parent seeks to love them in humility, sacrificing for their child. Everything we do, even down to disciplining them, is because we love them. They don't understand that as children, but someday they grow up and have their own children usually, and they come to understand that. You give yourself and everything you are to them. Not based so much on whether or not you like them, because let's face it, some days you don't. Not based on any merit, not based on anything they've done to deserve it, but you do it because you simply love them. And see, I believe the love of a parent is a reflection of the love that God has for us and what he wants for us. And everything about Jesus' time here on earth was an expression of love for us. How he lived among us, how he gave himself for us, and how he even died on the cross. And that song that we just sang, Manger Throne, it captures the heart of the message of Christmas in a pretty powerful way. I just take a second and just think about this night, the night of the first Christmas, the night that Jesus was born. His parents, Mary and Joseph, have traveled a long way, about 90 miles, which would have been anywhere from 4 to 7 days of travel, of walking, or maybe on the back of some sort of animal. She's 9 months pregnant. They get there. The town is in chaos. There's way too many people. There's no place to sleep. They are needing to sleep on the streets. Many people are probably sleeping on the streets. They find a stable where they're able to sleep. And she has the baby. There in the midst of the animals and the hay and the mice and the feces and whatever else. It was a smelly and chaotic night. And yet in the midst of that harsh reality, it was a profound and holy time. Why? Because the King of our universe entered into the world, not through the gates of a palace with trumpets blaring, but in the midst of the most humble of circumstances, a filthy barn. He didn't sit on a throne, but rather he was laid in a manger, a feeding trough. And that song, Manger Throne, it invites us to look at the tension of that amazing night. I mean, the title in itself presents a paradox, doesn't it? I mean, a throne is not meant to be in a stable. A throne is in a palace. But that night, that manger was a throne. Why? Because it's not the throne that makes the king. It's the king that makes the throne. And that image that begins with the life of Jesus is a key to understanding who Jesus is and what it has meant for all of humanity and what it means for us tonight. So what I'd like to do for the last few minutes we have is I'd like to look through this song and just look at the lyrics and talk a little bit about what they mean. The first thing the song gets across is that Jesus is the King who came in humility. Let me reread that first verse again. It says, you could have stepped into creation with fire for all to see, brought every tribe and nation to their knees, arriving with the host of heaven in royal robe and crown. The rulers of the earth all bowing down. But you chose meekness over majesty, wrapped your power in humanity. See, these words remind us that the arrival of Jesus on that night was the ultimate act of divine humility. The King of Kings, the creator of the cosmos, chose to enter the world as a vulnerable, fragile baby. The King of Kings was not veiled in the riches of the world, but rather in the meekness of a manger. A passage that many Jewish people would have known on that night that Jesus was born is in Isaiah 9, verse 6. It's a prophecy that came hundreds of years before Jesus, prophesying about the coming Messiah, the coming King. And it says this, it says, For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And this passage speaks of the power and the authority that Jesus has and how he will rule, which he does. And I don't know about you, but if I was a first century Jew, that's what, when I read that passage, I would have been expecting a baby to be born in power, a baby to be born from an influential family. So it makes sense that people missed it. But that's the way God works. God surprises. God doesn't work the way we expect him. And this situation is no different. He surprised the world with this birth. Because Jesus has all the authority and he does deserve to be worshiped. And so people assumed that he would come to this earth in the manner worthy of a king. So imagine just for a moment that night that the creator of all things, the King of Kings, choosing to give up majesty for the manger, to choose to give up his glory for swaddling clothes, to choose to give up worshiping angels for smelly shepherds. See, the glory of his humility is that he came to serve, not to be served. And it's a reminder to all of us during the splendor and the celebrations, and let's face it, the consumerism of Christmas season, that the true blessings are in the simple, the humble, and the self-emptying love of God. And the truth is, if you want to truly understand the peace, the hope, and the joy that we talk and sing about so often at Christmas time, you have to get past the pride, the consumerism, and the self-promotion of this world. And you have to look at the sacrificing, humble, and serving love of Christ. But you can't just do it at Christmas. We have to do it all year long. So the song tells us that Jesus came in humility. But it also tells us that, yes, he is humble, but he is also king. Jesus is king. Look at these words. Glory be to you alone, King who reigns from a manger throne. My life, my praise, everything I own, to Jesus, the King on a manger throne. You see, while Jesus is humble, while he did come to serve, he is still the ruler of all of heaven and earth. He is the king that no one expected. His birth was the first moment of an entire life, the life of a king that no one expected. And throughout his entire life, Jesus did everything that was contrary to what people would expect from a king. From his humble beginnings there in the manger to the confrontational actions and words that he had for those in power, to the compassion that he showed on the crowds, all the way to the cross. Everything he did as king was contrary to what people expected. He was the king who sacrificed everything for the ones he loves. You know, from the very beginning of the story of Jesus, the time of his birth, all the way through his life, to the cross, to the resurrection, and still to this day, it seems like most people have one of three responses to Jesus. And we see him represented here at the birth. The first is the response of Herod. You may remember Herod was the ruler of the area at that time. And when the wise men told Herod about the prophecy and said they were going to find this king that had been born in Bethlehem, Herod did not respond well. Herod was opposed to Jesus. He felt threatened. His kingdom might be threatened by this new king. So he stood opposed to Jesus, and so much so that what did he do? He had every baby that was born in Bethlehem up to 2 years old killed. He opposed Jesus. Why? Because Jesus was a threat to him. Because Jesus, in his mind, could take away everything he had. And there's a lot of people that approach Jesus that way. There's a lot of people that worry that Jesus wants to ruin their life. That Jesus doesn't want to, that Jesus will take everything that they've built and destroy it. And they don't want to turn it over to Jesus. So they stand opposed to him. Throughout history, there have been people who oppose Jesus because they simply do not want to submit to Jesus. They won't trust him. The next group of people is the Jewish priests. Now, you might be familiar enough with the story that you say, Shane, I don't remember a lot of Jewish priests in the story. Well, the simple absence of the Jewish priests tells us a little bit about their response. No one would have known these prophecies better than the Jewish priests. And the Jewish priests resided in Jerusalem just a few miles from Bethlehem. They would have heard of Herod's decree to kill the babies. And yet, all throughout the life of Jesus, we never hear anything about these Jewish priests knowing all the prophecies, knowing that the Messiah is to be born in Bethlehem, knowing that Herod had these babies killed. We don't ever hear anything or see anything about them responding to that and saying, hey, this might be worth us really digging into, really trying to understand. It didn't make sense to them. They said, they probably were saying that can't be who we're looking for. It doesn't make sense to us, so they just didn't bother. And throughout history, there have been a lot of people that Jesus just doesn't make a lot of sense to, so they just don't bother. They like the story. Maybe they even know quite a bit about Jesus, but they don't really know Jesus. They never take the time to really get to know Jesus. They are too busy, or they're too caught up in their life, or for whatever reason, they're just maybe too lazy to say, I should probably really look at everything Jesus says and see, is Jesus really who he says he is? Is there truth to this? And so they go their whole life, and Jesus passes them by because they're unwilling to just to take the time to make it a priority. And then finally, we have the wise men. When you think about it, the wise men would have been the ones least expected to worship Jesus. They weren't even Jewish. They were from afar. They were from the east. They had to travel quite a ways. They had to study ancient books that weren't even theirs, probably. And they traveled all that way. They brought gifts, they sacrificed. But the Bible really says a lot about their response to Jesus when it says in Matthew that when they came and they saw the baby Jesus and his mother Mary, they fell on their face before him and they worshiped him. They sought him and they worshiped him. They bowed down. And there are those that seek Jesus and bow down to him. You see, this is the appropriate response. This is the response that Jesus calls us to. This is the response that he requires from us. Yes, he is humble. Yes, he did come to serve, but he is still king. And he still wants our praise. And he calls us to trust him with everything we own, with all of our lives. To understand that this is not our kingdom that we're building. It's his. Jesus went from the cradle to the cross, and from the cross back to his rightful place as king. And he calls us to worship him. I will quote that last verse. It says, from heaven to the cradle, from the cradle to the cross, let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. But the grave could not hold him. Our God has overcome. Tonight, my prayer is that you would know that there is a big difference between knowing about Jesus and truly knowing Jesus. That you would know that he went from heaven to the cradle. He traded majesty for manger. And he went from that cradle to the cross. And he ascended from the grave back to his rightful spot in majesty, sitting at the right hand of God the Father on his throne as the King of Kings. He deserves our praise. And one day, every single knee will bow. Every single tongue will confess. But the question I have for each and every one of us tonight is, will we recognize his glory today? And will we join heaven and nature in singing, this is our King?
Come on, we're going to sing this bridge together one more time. Would you stand with us? From heaven to the cradle, from cradle to the cross, let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. But the grave couldn't hold him, no, our God is overcome. Let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. Come on, from heaven to the cradle, from cradle to the cross, let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. But the grave couldn't hold him, no, our God is overcome. Let heaven and nature sing, this is our King. And all hail the King, and all hail the King, all hail the King. The King on a manger throne, to Jesus, the King on the manger throne.
We're going to close out with our final portion of worship by singing two more songs. After we sing O Holy Night, we'll enter into our candlelight portion. The ushers will come forward. If you're on the end, they're going to light your candle. We ask that you light the candles by taking the unlit candle and turning it sideways, keeping the lit candle straight up. Makes it a little less messy that way. But continue and worship as we sing these last two songs.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices on earth, divine, all night, when Christ was born. Oh, night, divine, oh, night, divine. Truly He taught us to love one another. His law is love, and His gospel is peace. Chains shall He break, for the slave is our brother, and in His name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us praise His holy name. Christ is the Lord. Oh, praise His name forever. His power and glory evermore proclaim. 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 His power
thank you for joining us tonight. Before you leave tonight, we hope that you will have some coffee or a cookie, and that maybe get a photo done with your family. Thank you for sharing your time with us. We hope that you have a very merry and faithful Christmas. I do ask that before you start walking out, you blow out your candles. If you have young boys, parents, please make sure they blow theirs out. Have a great night.